There is something about your dog's day that you never actually witness. Not because it's hidden, not because it's subtle, but because it happens during the exact hours you are gone. Your neighbors might know parts of it. They might know when the barking starts. They might recognize the rhythm of scratching at the door. They might even know which days the house is quiet and which days it isn't. But you rarely see any of it, because the moment you open the door again, your dog looks normal. Maybe a little excited. Maybe wagging its tail. Maybe running toward you. Like nothing unusual happened all day. And from the dog's point of view, something important just happened. You came back. But for researchers studying animal behavior, the interesting part of the story begins much earlier. The moment you leave. For decades, behavioral scientists have been running a very simple experiment. They install a camera in the home. They wait for the owner to leave. And then they watch, hour after hour. What those cameras reveal is something most dog owners never imagine. Your dog does not simply miss you. A sequence begins. And it begins faster than you think. In one observational study, conducted by researchers at the University of Milan, cameras were placed in homes with dogs who were left alone regularly during the day. Researchers weren't looking for dramatic moments. They were tracking timing. How long? Until the first vocalization? How long? Until movement changes? How long? Until destructive behavior appears? The numbers were surprisingly precise. The first signs of distress, barking, whining, or howling, appeared on average just over 3 minutes after the owner left. Not 30 minutes. Not an hour. 3 minutes. And within about 7 minutes, some dogs began interacting with objects in the environment in ways owners would recognize immediately. Shoes, door frames, cushions. The items owners often describe as randomly destroyed. But what researchers noticed next was even more interesting. The chaos doesn't continue indefinitely. After a period of intense activity, the barking often stops. The scratching stops. From the outside, the house becomes quiet again. If you returned home at that exact moment, you might think your dog had simply settled down. But the camera tells a different story. Silence does not mean calm. In many dogs, the body tells a different narrative. Panting increases. Movement becomes restless rather than frantic. Heart rate remains elevated. The dog has not relaxed. It has simply shifted from one form of stress to another. And over longer recordings, researchers discovered a pattern. The behavior doesn't gradually fade. Instead, it cycles. Roughly every 20 to 30 minutes, a new wave of activity appears. A sudden burst of movement. Another round of vocalization. A return to the door. Then another quiet phase. Then another spike. Not settling. Cycling. This is very different from what researchers see in dogs without separation-related distress. In a separate set of observations at the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences, dogs with no history of separation issues were monitored during periods of several hours alone. Their behavior looked almost boring. By comparison, they rested. They changed sleeping positions. Occasionally, they walked to the water bowl. But about 97% of their time was spent in passive behavior. Waiting essentially. Not distressed. Just waiting. So what separates these two groups of dogs? At first glance, people often assume it must be breed, or age, or genetics. But the evidence suggests something else matters far more. Expectation. What the dog has learned to predict about your absence. And interestingly, that prediction begins forming before you even leave the house. Back in the 1980s, veterinary behaviorists began documenting something many owners later recognized immediately. Dogs with separation anxiety often start showing stress responses during the owner's departure routine, not when the door closes. Earlier, when the keys appear, when shoes go on, when a bag is picked up. Through repetition, dogs build what psychologists call Associative chains. Your morning routine becomes a sequence of signals. Phone check. Shoes. Bag. Door. Each step tells the dog the same thing. You are about to disappear.